Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. I'm glad that Hans's feng shui is good today.
Well, it's getting there.
It's getting there. So it's very important. Before we start the show, we have to make sure Hans's feng shui is good. Things are what he sees. You guys don't see that are adjusted correctly. And
the screens are all fine.
everything is good. Hans, what's the deal with circus tricks? You always talk about circus tricks versus obedience.
I like to piss people off. It makes me happy.
Okay. That's it for today, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Get some videos.
It's well, there's difference between teaching dogs circus tricks and obedience. Right? And everybody teaches, not everybody, but just about everybody teaches circus tricks.
Hans likes to always say that you have to leave always. You can't say everyone. So you got to always leave that little.
Yeah.
You can't say 100%.
Yeah.
It's like.
That way I have an alibi. But it's true.
It is true,
Yeah. Like grasshopper says always, but it's true.
But it's true.
Mr. Paul.
Yeah. Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. It was a good show, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's really actually pretty bad what's going on in the world of dog obedience training today. I'm not even going to talk about protection, right? Let's go a little bit with obedience. There's a lot of, like I remember this guy, a friend of mine, his name's Chris. He came to my class and he says, "Your dogs look like they don't want to be here." And I said, that's good, right? I'll explain what I mean by that, okay? You go to a trainer and he demo you a dog and he looks all happy and prancing and looking up at the handler and all that. And everybody, that's what I want, right? But that's training and drive. And the particular dog is just performing circus tricks for rewards, and the rewards. It's all it matters to him, not who is giving him the rewards, but the rewards themselves. Right? So cookies or food, and the toys. Right? So the dog is in drive, and it's like Skinner, the guy who developed the balanced dog training.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, negative punishment. He did tests, right? They taught the dog or monkey or whatever or pigeon. He was with pigeons. Mm-hmm. To step on a lever, and he got banana. The monkey did, right? Mm-hmm. And that's basically, I call it pest dispenser training, right? You push and you get a cookie or a little what do you call that thing? Bonbon or
You mean the Pez? You're talking about Pez? Or?
Yeah.
That's a little candy, hard candy.
Yeah, a little Pez.
Yeah. Somebody recently made a comment under the video is that he knows that people are watching Hans's videos, other dog trainers, because this particular dog trainer never said Pez dispenser, and now he's saying it because he hasn't heard it before. So
yeah, but you know what? That's a problem, man. Remember, guys. When you train the dog, you want more from the training than just to teach the dog to perform tricks, meaning sit and down and stay, right? When you teach the dog, you want to use the teaching of the commands is just a tool for us to get more important things than that, and that is to build proper relationship with the dog, meaning establishing leadership position over the dog, because dogs are pack-oriented animals and they have to have a leader or they will turn into one. There's just no third option. And so we want to make sure that the dog understands that we are the leader. Mm-hmm. And then we teach them that they work for us and with us, right? And when you when you tell the dog sit and give him a cookie, he's not doing the sit because you said sit. He's doing it so he can get the cookie.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have a hard time to grasp that concept.
I joke with my wife because in the morning, like we eat breakfast, and then she trained this basically the dog. I mean, it's not a hard training, but dogs know that food is the plate licking is gonna happen after we're done, right? So I joke with her, go,
That's sharing.
yes, let's go. But this is like, that's a joke. It's just amazing. You're like the best dog trainer ever. Like, how do you do it? Like, give us the secret, you know, and I'm just joking with her, you know. The dog's already, you know, doing, sitting, laying down, whatever it takes to get the food.
By themselves, right? You don't have to ever say, they sit down, stay and speak and everything.
You know, just,
Well, you know, but you see, going back to, you know, the circus trick stuff, right? Yeah, if you want to teach circus tricks, meaning if you want to teach the dog just sit, the cookies, that's good. Or toys, that's good. You know, that's what sport does, right? And so it's there's nothing wrong with it. That's what you want, but it's a waste of time for you not to teach other things. Okay, so what is basically obedience? When does obedience matter? The obedience matters when you are in a scenario which is dangerous for the dog and you want them to stop doing something which can hurt them. Like, you know, get hit by a car because they chase a cat or stuff like that.
so obedience matters when it matters, right?
Right.
Kind of thing. Like,
So just to say dog sit and he sits, that's a circus trick.
yeah.
Right? You can make it roll over or walk on their rear feet or,
Yeah.
or legs or whatever. And you can make them speak, you know. It's all tricks. It's tricks.
Yeah.
It's not obedience, right? You got people need to distinguish it. So how do I get the obedience? You know, how do I establish leadership position? Well, the purpose of the obedience is to make the dog do things for us when they don't want to do them.
We did a podcast literally on, I think that's the topic. On that, so people look back.
Yeah.
Yep. That they were
Right. And so if the dog chases cat across the street, and you have a piece of salami, the dog doesn't care about your salami, right?
Yeah.
Because all you did, you taught him to teach tricks. You taught him tricks. You don't teach him obedience. The obedience is when the dog comes to you even so they don't want to. We did that video of that woman's dog chasing the deer. Yeah. So this is kind of almost...
And you had it with...
repetition.
Sarko or...
Yeah, with Sarko, he did the same thing.
There was no video on it, but he came back.
Well, yeah, I didn't...
I mean,
it just happened.
Heat of a moment.
Yeah. So there is a difference when you train the dog between just going to PetSmart or to some dog trainer who teach dogs in drive, and they say sit and they sit. You know, you can do it you can do it basically two different ways. You can do it with cookies or you can do it with toys. Mm-hmm. But when I'm training obedience, I tell the dog down, and I start pulling down on the leash, and dog will brace themselves. They don't want to go down. Yeah. And I'm making them to go down, and I won't give up until the dog submits and goes down. And as soon as I see his leg starts collapsing, I release the pressure. Yeah. It's called negative reinforcement, and I'm removing the pull that's a negative, and reinforcement, it makes it feel good. And the dog finishes up, his elbow touches the ground, and I praise it, good boy. Yeah. So now I told the dog that when I say down, he got to do it if he likes it or not, right? So I'm teaching the dog to respond to me in critical situation when he does not want to respond to. That's the training. Yeah. That's the obedience. Yeah. And then when he does it, I praise him. I say, good boy. So he does it for me and with me. He says, well, you know, that guy, he's my leader,
Yeah.
and I got to do what he says,
Yeah.
right? And so that's the obedience. So that's the difference between teaching dog tricks and between teaching the dog obedience.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's not like I want to insult people and say, oh, this is just a circus trick training. And it's not like insult. If you want to do circus tricks, go do circus tricks, but don't call it obedience, you know?
Yeah.
Obedience is different. Obedience is teaching dog to do stuff for you, especially when they don't want to do it.
I think as we moved away from, you know, the farm and working, and we, you know, moved into cities, and dogs really don't have that much jobs anymore. That's where these things collide of what you're saying here, because dog ultimately always had a job. It needed to do things that you want him to do.
Right.
There was no question. Like the dog had to do it.
Right.
Like otherwise the dog wasn't around, right? I mean, like they were
Right. Well, they were working dogs.
working dogs.
Yeah.
Those dogs were
Right.
that. Yeah. So I think.
You know, and the people raise kids this way too. So they say, Joey, go ahead and do this, and
Yeah.
Joey doesn't do it, and parents, oh, okay, whatever, he doesn't want to.
Your dad just had to look at you, or mom, right? You knew.
Yeah, he looked at me with his
just-
piercing look, and I shit bricks and did whatever he said.
Yeah, there was no
You
question.
know, people say, oh, it's cruel, and it's, you know, and it's obsolete. No, it's not obsolete.
No.
It's not obsolete. What's cruel is if you don't teach the dog obedience and then they get hit by a car and you gotta amputate their leg. That's fucking cruel.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know, so you being nice to dog and like, you know, and let him do whatever he wants and call him fur babies and teaching them with cookies and stuff and everything is happy-go-lucky, PetSmart type training. That's cruel.
Yeah.
Because that dog is going to fail your command when you need to protect them with that command, like, you know, running across the street,
Yeah.
you know, or going, you know, trying to start a dog fight or whatever. You say no and dog stops.
Yeah. That's why I asked some of these dog trainers on YouTube, like, how do you teach the no command? Just literally
Yeah, what do they say?
well, just a lot of times, you know, a lot of positive, you know, a lot of positiveness and
Well, they do.
that cracks me up.
Well, they withdraw the reward. It's called the negative punishment.
Yeah.
You know, people mix negative punishment and positive punishment. Negative punishment is you withdraw a cookie from the dog.
Yeah.
Until they do it, and then you give it to them. That's negative punishment because you're taking something away, right? But if your dog doesn't give a damn about cookie,
The cat.
the cat will always win over cookie, like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
The only thing is, if you do it often enough, the circus tricks training. I'm talking hundreds of times, right? The dog, the behavior become conditioned, so it becomes automatic, right? So you say down and dog downs before he even thinks about it, or come and they come, right?
Yeah.
But that's not really reliable, right? I mean, it's reliable but it can get overridden by a really strong stimuli.
And this, I don't want to go into protection, but it's the same concept. When you talk about protection too, there's the same issue that persists there too, kind of, because it works only so much, and then it'll
Right.
the default thing.
Right.
So it's kind of simple.
But in the obedience, you know, I can condition the dog Pavlovian, right? So I say down or come, and I do it hundreds of times, and then I say come, and it bypasses the signal from ears bypasses the thinking part of the brain and goes directly to the response, and the dog will respond, right? But that could be overridden by strong stimulus.
So it's not effective.
So if the stimulus is very strong, we'll override the conditioning, right? Because, like, I can get conditioned when you say, you know, you prick me in the butt with needle, and I jump, right? And you prick me, I jump, and you say, and you let's say you whistle and prick, whistle and prick, whistle and prick, whistle and prick, and then I hear whistle and I jump, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a conditioning of that circus trick. So then you may say, okay, well, when the dog want to chase a cat, I will tell him not to, and because he went through it so many times, he will automatically respond to it. But if the stimulus is strong enough, same way as you whistle and prick me, you know, if you show me a really pretty girl and you whistle, I won't even hear the whistle.
The stimulus.
Right?
Yeah.
The stimulus will override the whistle.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
There's a hole in the system.
Yeah, so what you what you need to teach the dog is you can still do the repetition, right? That's good. But repetition of what? Repetition of you gotta do what I say because I said so. You know.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So it's you gotta hit the topic from several different directions. You know. When you do training of the circus tricks or whatever, it's like fighting with one hand tied behind the back, you know.
Yeah. And some trainers say, oh, we phase it out.
Phase what out?
Phase out the treats.
Oh, the treat?
That's one of the answers.
Well, if you phase them long enough, then the dog will stop working. It's called extinction.
Their argument is like it'll work. Like we start with treats and then we don't use treats anymore.
So why is the dog doing it after a while? Well, but it is doing it because it's conditioned.
Yeah.
Right?
But as you said, there's a problem with that.
But then,
stimuli.
Yeah, and plus there's an extinction, so you gotta keep retraining the cookies periodically. Yeah. Or the dog becomes smart and says, well, he doesn't have cookies, so I don't have to listen.
Yeah.
Because why the hell I should do this if I don't get cookie?
Yeah. So you attack it like as you said, like a ball.
Yeah, it's multifaceted like a crystal. Yeah. There's different, you know, and you need to use more than one thing, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you try to use everything, you know, so you use the repetition, so you train the Pavlovian, you use the Skinner, you know, the 4 quadrants, okay? And you use teaching the dog to do things for you even they don't want to, like we teach the dog to climb a ladder and on the barrels, and they're terrified. But you got to do it
initially, but then learn that.
Well, once they learn that the exercise is not good anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell the dog, you climb the ladder, and you just gotta climb it. It's just no other option.
Yeah.
And they're scared and don't want to do it, but they'll do it because I said so.
Yeah.
And there is that cat again. The dog is doing what I say. They would like to chase that cat, but they stop because I say stop.
Yeah.
Because they gotta do what I say.
Yeah.
And that's what makes all the training. They say, well, your training is cruel or whatever. What was the word today? I couldn't remember what it is. Whatever. Yeah, I shouldn't put you on spot like this. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, there was okay.
You know what the word I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'll try to maybe remember.
Yeah, you know, so what's actually cruel is to be really nice.
Yeah.
You know, oh, sit, here's a cookie. You don't want to sit? Well, okay, here's a cookie anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you're really nice.
Yeah.
But the dog is not going to listen to it when it counts.
Yeah. It's my male.
That's cruel.
Yeah. So my male, he was 2 years old when I found Hans, right? He's about 5, a little over 5 now. 5, over 5. So my initial training, lack of knowledge of anything about dog training, just YouTube stuff, you know, what we see in the world these days. I went after that, right? My no is a lot better because of Hans's training, but my initial 2 years of initial no was like 0, like it was horrible.
No.
Now Irina, my female who came from Czech Republic, proper no. When I say no,
she hits the ground.
Oh man, she hits the ground.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between the two.
But that's cruel. Well, it's not cruel if she hit the ground. Don't get hit by a car.
Yeah, I'm not saying it to entertain myself or her. It's when I don't want her to do something that could ultimately hurt her.
So to conclude all this is is be careful when you train the dog. Oh, and that brings me to another thing: is people. Circus tricks could be trained in so-called doggy boot camp. You know, you can give the dog to some trainer and he will take it out twice a day or whatever, and go through a bunch of repetitions so that when the dog hears sit, the dog sits, or down, the dog downs, and then you do the same thing. They transfer it on you, and that's it.
Yeah.
But you miss the boat when because you didn't establish leadership position.
Yeah.
And if you take the dog to boot camp or I mean, drop it there somewhere, even if they do it the way I'm saying, and they establish leadership position over the dog, it doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
Okay? You gotta establish leadership position too. And the best way to establish leadership position of the dog is so the dog learns to learn from you.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
You know, the trainers will say, well, I'll then transfer the dog at the handler. You know, I teach them how to do it, and then they you know, I teach. But you know, the best is if the trainer, I mean, the handler, the owner of the dog, if he struggles through all this and that through that struggle, they come to understanding of the relationship they have between each other.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the part. Yeah.
And that's what's important.
And you talked about that in we did the kennel training, the
Yeah, there's a podcast on the boot camp.
really the most effective way of training, basically.
Yeah, but the reason optimal, yeah, but the reason for that is that it doesn't enable you to establish leadership position over the dog.
That's the big one. Yeah.
Right? You know, so the dog listens to you in critical situations.
Yeah.
Circus tricks are no distraction. You know, the elephants are walking in,
Yeah.
you know, and walking on the barrels and stuff. And
Yeah.
okay, those are circus tricks. That's all done with food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's it.
That's it. Yep. That's it.
So remember, conclude again. When you train dog, don't teach the dogs just circus tricks. Teach them obedience, where you're establishing leadership position. And if you do want to teach circus tricks, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But first, do the obedience where the dog listens to you, even so they don't want to. Mm-hmm. And only after that, that's a succession we talked about before. Only after that you can start doing cookies and all that and teach them tricks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, makes sense.
You know, that way you establish the default that you are a leader through the positive, negative type stuff, right? And then you can teach the circus tricks. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the succession, you know, what comes first and what comes next is important in that order of things you teach.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Hans. Make sure actually Hans sells the video. He has a video about obedience, auto drive obedience video. So make sure you visit alpinecaninereel.com. That is alpinecaninereel.com, and there's other videos there at the website too. Please subscribe and share. That helps the channel.
Tell a friend.
Yep, tell your friend. And if you're looking for a dog, trained adult or a puppy, make sure you contact Hans. The information is down below this video. It's in the beginning of the video, end of the video. It's everywhere. So the information is there. And that is it. And we will see you guys next time.
Ahoy.
So Hans has a membership program. We just started this not long ago, depending on when you're Facebook, obviously watching the video. It involves, yes, the link is down below this video. We have a whole dedicated page to it. Also, I'm going to tell you about it, but you can go to alpinecaninereel.com and you will see it says join membership right there. There's a button right there.
It's a Facebook.
Yeah, it's a private. Yep,
private.
I'm going to
membership thing.
Yeah. So what it is, it's if the videos are great, and Hans has some great videos, but ultimately you need help with your dog, right? You have behavior modification issues, you have obedience issues. And this private Facebook group is where Hans personally helps you. The great thing here is that it's a library of things as the membership builds, as the people are asking questions. So you will also see other people's issues. So it's a wonderful hub of knowledge. You can upload the video of the issue, which is the big one, because Hans, you're going blind a lot of time. People telling you type, but video is the best way, correct? Yeah. So you have that opportunity inside this private Facebook group to upload your issue, and Hans will be there to help. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an issue about the obedience itself, because, you know, when I started training dogs and all that, I did it from books and stuff. Nobody ever told me anything. I learned a lot on my own, and then I got some input from other people, but you know, you can read something or listen to something and still do it wrong.
Yeah.
You need, unless you do it 100 times and they say, oh yeah, I forgot this and I forgot that. Where if you record your session and send me, download it, let's say on YouTube, and put it as a link,
Whichever way. Yeah.
and I look at it, I can immediately tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And what you should do better, and what you do good, and what you should do next.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what the group is all about. And there's going to be there are, or it's already active. There are two ways to do it. One is the virtual hunts, and we're still expanding on the virtual hunts.
It's an artificial intelligence. I was going to.
It's artificial intelligence where you can ask questions 24/7, and you will get an answer, and you won't get a generic answer which was collected by AI from internet. You get mine answer, because Gabor inserts my articles and my videos and my posts into the memory of the AI, and the AI reaches into their memory to answer your questions. And there's literally thousands of topics I wrote about, and even so it's active, we keep adding on it, continuously, and eventually it's gonna be like a big book of what I teach and my philosophy. So, book, you have everything there, but this will be just like an encyclopedia, like a book. You want to look at.
You ask your problem.
Yeah, you ask about Russian Revolution, right? So you go to Russian Revolution.
You won't have that in there, but
okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you want to see how to split atoms, so you go and look up split atom. In the encyclopedia, of course, we are not talking about stuff like that, but maybe we will one day. So,
and
so that's the virtual hunts, what I call it, the artificial intelligence answers. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to worry about calling me at 2:00 at night, right? You can tap into it anytime, 24/7.
Yeah.
And then if you don't get the answer, or you can try to reformulate it, right? And if still don't get an answer, then you can ask me within the timeline, right?
Yeah.
And I will answer it. I'll go there every day and I see what somebody is asking, and I will answer a question personally. Okay.
Yeah. And another neat feature of the AI is if we have a video, let's say it's 30 minutes long, and you ask the question, but your answer lies like 10 minutes and 30 seconds into the video, well, it'll start the video at that 10 minutes and 30 seconds where the answer is to your question. Now that's powerful, because we have a lot of video in the course, and that's a huge time saver, and also just pinpoints you to the, where your answer is. So, please, click to load this video, and the link is there. And also, again, you can go to alpinecaninereal.com, and it says join membership. There's a button. All right, guys. That's it.
Yeah. Ahoy.